Welcome back to Where Clarets Walk. Creedy says, Burnley got out of jail today. That was a dreadful performance. Slow, ponderous, sideways, backwards football. I mean, it's 3 points. What more do the Clarets want? Well, we've got Dan and we've got our guest this week, Rich from the No Nay Never podcast to review the Portsmouth game and talk about whether or not the slow, ponderous football is acceptable or not. Welcome to Where Clarets Walk. Well, to review all that Portsmouth game, we've got Dan and Rich, as we say, and if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so, and do drop us a like down below. Dan, we'll come to you first. It was 3 points, but by goodness, they made you work hard for it, didn't they?
They did, yeah. It was a hard work game. Not the most attractive. We dug it out. It's a bad game. You play bad, you win. You can't really whinge at that, but I understand that fans are getting frustrated with it.
I think the frustration comes, doesn't it, that there's going to be lots of teams doing that that are slightly better than Portsmouth. They'll come, nick a goal, sit back, and then you have to try and break them down. And I suppose, Rich, if it wasn't for perhaps some very dodgy goalkeeping towards the end there, that might have finished all square. What was your take on it?
Yeah, I think some of the fan reaction has been a little bit unfair. It's obviously a very new team that's going to take a little bit of time to gel. You know, these lads haven't played together at all. And I thought Portsmouth played very well first half. I thought they had a nice shape. I thought they had a nice setup. They made it difficult for us. They looked a threat on the break. And then they went away from that a little bit second half. Obviously, they want to try and see the game out and maybe hold on to that 1-0. But I felt they went a bit too defensive. I felt they went a bit to time waste a little bit too much, if I'm being honest. And they stopped having that threat on the break. And our substitutions were the key difference. Obviously, Sarmiento come on, scored a lovely goal. I thought Josh Brownhill come on and, gave us some drive forward in midfield. And yeah, a little bit of luck with that last goal. It looked like Norris's boots were in cement, I think. I don't even know why he didn't make an attempt to dive for it. But like I said, it's a last-minute win. And it was a very chaotic end to the transfer window. So to be third in the league, at the moment, for me, a really good return so far.
There was lots of accumulators, including my own, that were waiting for that Josh Brownhill goal. So thank you very much for paying for my night out on Saturday, Burnley. Really appreciated. Dan, let's have a look at a couple more. I mean, it's actually been summarised quite well by both of you. Paul says the silly games and time wasting paid off there. Hard fought out win in the end, but going to get a lot of games like this at the Turf this season from lesser teams up the Clarets. And I suppose you're going to have to get used to that kind of game, aren't you, that you saw on Saturday? A team that's going to come, time waste, play the dark arts, try and nick a goal here or there. Is it a case of fans just going to have to be patient in times with games like that? And it's you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be turning teams over like perhaps you did 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a couple of years ago, obviously, when we were in the Championship under Company, we had really good players for that level. Obviously, they didn't cut it in the Premier League. And then when these teams come to Turf Moor, we've been classed as one of the big boys because we've been 7-8 years in the Premier League, albeit we did dip out for one. And they're going to come and just sit behind the ball. They're going to try and nick a goal. They're going to try. We've seen it with Portsmouth. We saw it with them down the road. Cardiff didn't do it very well. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to set up not to get beat and try and nick a point. And it's going to take a lot of probing, a lot of, trying to find that space, trying to find that chance to try and, break these teams down. We ultimately did. Yeah, it wasn't a classic performance. And like Rich rightly said, we're a newish team. We've been thrown together in the last 6 weeks. We will, in my opinion, we will get better and we will start turning teams over. But in the interim, you're going to have this period of time where you've got to grind these results out, especially when teams just come and put 10 behind the ball. It's hard work. It's horrible to watch, but we won, and if we come off of that weird draw or we'd have lost it, I can understand fans losing their heads a little bit more, but, let's just give them a bit of time. Let's back them a bit.
Okay. Is there a problem with Turf Moor at the moment? I mean, that's 3 games now. We've seen Cardiff. You didn't start particularly well. I know you went on to win handsomely. Obviously, Blackburn wasn't the best performances either, and now this one. You've been amazing on the road, Rich. But is there something wrong with how you set up at home, which means we aren't seeing not seeing the best of your squad at the moment.
It's 7 points out of 9, so I don't think that's too bad. I think everyone's comparing this team to the last company team. To the company team in the last when we won the championship quite comfortably. And like I mentioned, my first point, it's a new team. When company first started, we drew a lot of games at home. It took a while to settle. So I'm not concerned yet in the slightest. I think we'll be in and around the promotion race. I think you'll see a little bit more of a pragmatic team this season. We're not conceding many goals. We've not conceded more than one in a game. And like I said, I think one thing we're missing at the moment is a little bit of a link between the midfield and the attack. Foster's not playing well, in my opinion, at the moment. He's dropping into midfield too much, and there's times when we need players in the box. I think we're missing a real number 9, an out-and-out striker who can play off the shoulder and running behind a little bit. Obviously, Fleming's come in, and I thought he played really well at Leeds and was then on the bench. I don't know if he's going to play as that out-and-out number 9 or he's going to play more with a 10. But like I said, there is things to work on. But, you said, is there an issue at Turf Moor? But then you've got 7 points out of 9. So I don't think it's too bad at the moment.
It's fair enough. It goes to say that when we spoke to Millwall fans, they're very much missing Fleming, and Stoke are very much missing Laurent as well. So you've snapped up, some cracking players from teams. I want to have a chat, if I can, about one player in particular. This is from Nathan, and this is he's posting the Opta stats here. So there's been 190 players so far that have completed 100 successful passes. Of those, Steve has the highest pass accuracy percentage amongst all of them at 94%, which I know the stats are exactly what they are. They're just numbers. But when you think about players like this that perhaps don't get the headlines, I think does it highlight the richness of the coaching that's going on, Dan? Because I think previously you look at the stats in the Premier League, possession for Burnley and also passing statistics weren't always at the best. But is it good to see that when we analyse forensically what's going down in the build-up play, that you've got players like a Steve who's doing the job and some?
It's good. I mean, certainly on Saturday there was a lot of sideways passing, and I imagine most of Estev's passes were amongst not easy passes, but passes to his centre half and his left back. And then subsequently he did try and play. There was one or two balls. I don't know if it was Esteve or whether it was Worrell who was playing quite long balls out to the wing. The one thing I did notice though is that there's not an awful lot of bravery, and I don't know if Rich agrees with this, that when there's a pass on that might, it could set off an attack and they could turn it into something, they kind of refuse it and they'll turn back and play a safer pass. So whether that's the coaching that's saying, look, we've got to keep the ball, that's the coaching style, keep the ball, drain them of possession and make the more easier pass rather than risk it and you might get cut out. So it probably is down to the coaching, the way that they are playing and the number of passes they are trying to do. But whether it's a good thing, it's certainly, I know there's fans will say it's too negative, it's too backwards, there's too many passes that are not going anywhere. And you did see it once or twice where he could have, not just Esteve, but others, could have played a ball and then they decide against it, turn around and they played it sideways or backwards. So I suppose that does come from the coaches. That's how they've been told to play and that's how they are doing it.
Rich, what's your view on it?
Yeah, no, I agree with Dan. Obviously, like a lot of those sideways passes on Saturday, I think I would have had a high pass success rate. Just pass it from your centre half, and I think you've seen it with when City played Arsenal yesterday. I know Arsenal played ridiculously deep and pretty much only defended the penalty area, but when teams put low blocks against you, it is really, really difficult to break it down, and it can get frustrating. And there is time. I agree with Dan. There's times we do want to get it forward a little bit more. But Brownhill did a post-match interview and he kind of alluded to the fact that if you kind of just get it forward too quickly and they're heading it out for throw-ins, etc., it can waste even more time and delay the game. It was just a really unusual second half. I think from like minute 70 to minute 80, I'd like to see the stats on that. The ball seemed to be hardly in play at all. Players were going down injured. Substitutions were being made really consistently. And we just struggled to get that little bit of forward momentum. the team's not playing fluently at the moment, but what's evident to me is there's a real togetherness within the squad. You can see that at the final whistle. You're seeing that in the win away at Leeds, how much they fought. And for me, on the back of last season and all the turmoil, and there was clearly players who didn't want to be at the football club. It's really good to see that fighting spirit back. It seems like we've got a little bit of that Burnley DNA back in the club. It's not always going to be pretty, but we seem like we're a team who can grind out results a little bit more. But yeah, let's just see how the team evolves. And at the moment, we do look better away from home because we look better playing on the counter-attack with our pace. And so hopefully in time, over the next few games at Turf Moor, we will see a little bit more dynamism and fluidity to our play.
Okay. There was one final tweet. Still plenty of work. Still plenty to work on and figure out, but you can't beat a last-minute winner. I don't think we have the quality we have under VK in that championship season, but we seem to have a real fight together, which is brilliant to see. I was going to ask Dan's view on that, but you've answered my point spot on there. Thank you very much, both of you. Okay, Oxford then next, Dan. What do you make of Oxford start to the season? Are you a little bit worried about this next away game? 3 home games they've had, 3 wins. Okay, yes, they beat Norwich, Stoke and Preston, but does this give you any trepidation at all?
It does a little bit. I mean, they've started better than I gave them credit for. I thought they would have struggled more this season. So to go there and, try and turn them over. But in saying that, we went to Leeds, turned them over. I think we're going to have another one of those types of performances where it's not pretty to watch, stop them from scoring, and we've got the quality to go up and score.
Absolutely. Dan, Rich, do you see this as an away banker for us gamblers this weekend or not?
No, definitely not. I was looking at maybe picking me accumulator, and Burnley were really good odds this weekend, so it might be one to put in. But like I said, they've won 3 home games on the trot. They'll be tough to beat at home this season, but looks like they might struggle away, which is quite often the case with a lot of newly promoted teams. So yeah, it'd just be interesting to see how the game goes. Obviously, will they want to have a little bit more of the ball being at home, or will they let us have it and maybe try and hit us on the counter-attack? So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Oxford for anybody who's listening to this. I've not watched them yet this season. I don't know too much about them. I do know that Brannigan's injured for the next few weeks, which seems to be the kind of like catalyst. So maybe we can take advantage for that. But I'm confident going into every game. We do have better players individually than Oxford, and I really don't mean that to be disrespectful. But hopefully some of those players can, turn up for us. I'd like to see Sarmiento in from the start because I thought he was excellent when he come on Saturday. Looks to have a little touch of class to him. So yeah, I'm confident going into the game.
Yeah,
I think an added bit to it is that I think we've sold out. Have we, Rich? You might know, better than me. I think we've sold out.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it. It's one ground I've not been to. I've just had a little baby, so it's one I'm going to have to miss. Yeah, thank you. It's one I'm going to have to miss at the moment, but fingers crossed that it'd be good it would be good if Oxford stayed up, so I could maybe go there next year. But I think there's one thing about Burnley, in the last few years, they've travelled really, really well. I'm sure there'll be a great following down there.
Oh, yep. Congratulations as well. Yes, how children can save you money, as well as cost you a lot as well. All right, then. Every week, then, as Dan will know, we've been looking at different elements of this Burnley side. We've done goalkeepers, we've done centre backs, we've done left backs 2 weeks ago. Now it's the turn of right backs. So, Dan, cast your eyes on what Transfer Market has to say about your side. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong button. That's the one I wanted. I know that not all these players certainly are registered as for Burnley fans as right backs, but in terms of strength and depth, this is an area I'm looking at this thinking, yeah, this is not one you need to concern yourself with for January at least anyway, is it?
I don't think so. I mean, you get 1 or 2 injuries. Roberts, I think, is decent at this level, and I think he's proven that over the last few years. I would prefer him at right back. Some may disagree. I thought Humphreys played admirably at Leeds. I think he was a bit unlucky to lose his position. I don't know whether he was injured or not. I wasn't mightily impressed with Egan Riley on the weekend. I think he's slow. I think he's not got the enough pace, and he's out of position a lot. People may disagree with me. And of course, sorry, it was certainly Humphreys was suspended. Richard just reminded me there. But yeah, I think Roberts is good. I don't know enough about Sambo. I don't know if I've seen him at all. Obviously, Bayer's out till the new year. But with Roberts, Humphreys, and then Egan Riley as an understudy, I think we should be okay. I don't think we need to strengthen too much.
Okay. And then, Rich, your view on this?
I think it's both fullback positions are a bit of an issue with us. I know you touched on left back last week, so I'm not going to go over that. I think Roberts is a very good Championship right back. He lacks a little bit of pace and physicality, and he can get beat a little bit, but he's very good at this level. Sambo, obviously, we've not seen him yet. It looks like he is an out-and-out right back, despite having number 3 on his shirt, which really annoys me as a pass back out myself. More modern-day nonsense in football. But I think if he's fourth choice right back, I think he's obviously not ready. Like Dan said, I thought Humphreys did admirably against Leeds, against Solomon, who's obviously a very good winger, but he's left-footed. So it's always difficult playing against your foot. And Egan Riley, he's a strong lad. He's decent on the ball, but again, I don't think he's quick enough to play right back. I thought he struggled at times. So we've got depth there in a way under Roberts, but I don't think the depth is quite good enough for the level we need to be at.
I think Portsmouth goal came from there, didn't it?
It came from there. It came from that side, and obviously like Perez left his man a little bit. I'm not too keen on him really either, but I think fullbacks compared to like what we've had, I understand why Vitinho's gone. He's obviously wanted to go back to Brazil, maybe close to his family, etc. But I think it's a shame we've lost Vitinho. He can play in a number of positions, and like I said, because Roberts has been out, Vitinho would have just slotted in there, and there wouldn't have been too much difference in quality. So Roberts is a very good Championship player, but underneath that, we've got a little bit of depth, but I don't think we have the quality there.
Okay. All right. Drop your comments below. How do you rate the current right back position? Is it something that needs investing in January? Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us this week. You can catch Rich on. Tell us, Rich, how we can find your other products, which we can see your.
So I said I'm a regular panelist on the No Nay Never podcast. Obviously, regular Burnley fans and on Twitter, etc., will be aware of it. So please feel free to give that podcast a listen and a follow, etc. I won't be on that one this week, but I'm sure it'll be an enjoyable one to listen to after the win. Follow me on Twitter. It's @Steely_BFC. If you want to read me rambling on about nonsense about Burnley anyway, you can follow me there.
Just give me a moment.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that.
All right, and we'll see you back next week here, Dan, where hopefully we'll have Mike and the others back as well. We'll review the Oxford game next week as well, and we're going to start talking about the midfield as well. Thank you very much, both of you. Have a nice evening. Enjoy Oxford. Yeah, thanks, Rich. We'll hopefully see you again shortly throughout the season. Nice one, fella.
Cheers.
Thanks, Dan.
Cheers.
Thanks very much. See you now.